I miss my hair. What is up, guys? It's Mega Chief Fan here. Welcome back to another video. And today, we're going to be doing another book rant because it's been a while since I made a video and I have loads to talk about. So, as you can probably tell, I got an obvious haircut, a major haircut, and it's pretty good if you ask me, but I don't know. But, anyway, I don't really know what else to say except let's get into this. So, let's get into this. Alright, so like usual, I'm going to show you... Now, actually, I'm going to show you books that I bought recently first, and then go on with, like, what I'm currently reading and what I want to read. So, anyway, let's start off with Eileen by Otessa Moshfegh. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And I really should know, because this is my first 5 out of 5 of 2017. Holy mother of God. I don't know why this book has such terrible ratings on Goodreads, but this is phenomenal. This is seriously one of the best books I have ever read. It is so well done. It's written beautifully. But first, I'm going to tell you what this is about real quick. It's about this woman named Eileen Dunlop. And she works in, like, this juvenile prison in 1964, and she lives a horrible life with her father. And then one day, she meets this woman named Rebecca, and she pretty much changes her life for the better, and then things happen. And this book is just so well done. It's so beautifully written, and so well done with its story. It kept me interested in the whole time. Like, the first half is a lot more character driven. It's more about Eileen and like her character study, and the second half is a lot more plot heavy. But the best part about this book, without a shred of doubt, is the voice of the book. Eileen herself is one of my new favorite characters of all time. Not to say that she's likable, because she's pretty despicable, but she's more of the reason why she's one of my favorite characters, and why Holden is one of my favorite characters. She's not likable, but she's just so well written, so beautifully done, so realistic, that I applaud Moshfegh for this. And just everything about this book was so well done. So, like I keep saying, it's so beautifully written. Like, seriously, some of the right passages in this book just go even deeper into the mindset of Eileen. This is a very deep book. And while it's not the most original story of all time, it's the best form, it's the best version of this type of story I've ever seen. So that automatically gives it a 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot recommend it enough. It is absolutely wonderful, and I just loved it. Alright, the next book that I have is The Sympathizer by Viet Van Nguyen. I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name, but this won the Pulitzer. This is the Pulitzer winner of 2016, so I decided, hey, it's a really chunky book for... Actually, it's not too chunky. It's about 400 pages, but it just looks longer, but it was $7 on Amazon, so I'm like, you know what, just get it. I think it's gonna be worth it. And people compare this to like the modern day Catch-22, and I love Catch-22. It's one of my favorites, but I don't know how this is going to be. I'm pretty skeptical on what this is going to be like, but you know, if it's good, it's good. But it won the Pulitzer for a reason, and as I say many times in my video, despite me absolutely loving this Man Booker Prize nominee, I'm usually more of a fan of the Pulitzer Prize winners than the Man Booker Prize winners, even though there's obvious exceptions to both rules. But usually I like the Pulitzer better, and this, of course, won the Pulitzer, so I'm excited to see where it is. Where it is? Wait, what? Alright, and another Pulitzer Prize winner, but I've already read this. It's one of my favorites. Well, not one of my absolute favorites, but it was a really great book. And that is Michael Chabon's The Amazing Adventures of Kavalier and Clay. This is about two cousins, I think? Yeah, cousins. Oh my god. So this is about two cousins named Joseph Kavalier and Samuel Clay as they create a superhero called The Escapist. And they And it's about the story about New York. It's a story about the comic book industry in the 1930s and 40s, and even 50s, I think. No, not really 50s, but, you know, it's very in its era, but at the same time, it doesn't feel dated. It's very well done. Yet again, just another great Pulitzer Prize winner that definitely deserved the award. And yeah, Michael Chabon is starting to become... He's not one of my all-time favorites, but this isn't even my favorite Chabon novel. That title goes to The Mysteries of Pittsburgh, which... Oh my god, another great book. There's just so many great books in the world. But Michael Chabon, he's really good. So, I like this one. So yeah. And now the book that I am currently reading, Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quake. Matthew Quake wrote Silver Linings Playbook, which I really enjoyed. I gave it a 4 out of 5. And this one's good so far. I don't like it nearly as much as Silver Linings, but you know, this is good. I like this, but it's a YA novel, and if you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of YA novels. I think a lot of them are very cliched, but this one tries to avoid those cliches as much as possible. So you know what, the plot's so good job, Quick. But I can see myself giving this a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but nothing really that much higher. So. Yeah, I'm liking it, which is good because I've been in a kind of drought of books recently because I read the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller and Red Shirts by John Scalzi. I didn't like either of those books. I know loads of people are going to yell at me for the Song of Achilles, but that book was just stiffly written. I did not get into the writing at all. The book had its moments, yeah, just like Red Shirts as well. Red Shirts had loads of great moments, but the majority of the book was just boring and bland. And really, I have the same thoughts on both The Song of Achilles and Red Shirts, so I want to recommend those 2 books. But anyway, let's get on to what I am going to be reading. And first of all, there is After the Quake by Haruki Murakami. Now, Haruki Murakami, you guys know I love. I think he's one of the best living authors. He's absolutely phenomenal. And what's it called? Colorless Sakura Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage, which is his recent novel, was amazing. Absolutely beautiful. It was glorious in every way, shape, and form. And while I don't love it nearly as much as the Winterberg Chronicle, it didn't get a 5 out of 5 from me, which I'm thinking the next book I'm going to bump a 5 out of 5 stars to is the Winterberg Chronicle, because it's just stuck with me amazingly. But, you know, I've heard, it was an amazing book, what am I doing? I'm digressing immensely. After the Quake is a short story collection by Haruki Murakami. It's extremely short, and it's really cute hardcover. There's loads of fish on it, so there's gotta be a story about fish in there. If there's not anything related to fish in this book, I'm gonna be heavily disappointed. But yeah, I really love Haruki Murakami, even in its downfalls. But I like Haruki Murakami. What am I doing? Alright, the next book is that I'm wanting to get into a lot more Chinese literature, like just general Asian literature, not just Japanese literature. But the problem is, I don't want to insult anybody, but I just find the Japanese culture to be to be more appealing, kind of like the bizarre nature of the Japanese culture, just to be a little more appealing than, like, but at the same time, the Japanese culture is really the only Asian culture that I at least can say I know a bit about. I'm not like an expert or anything, but I know the basics of Japanese culture. But the Chinese culture, I don't know much about. So I've decided that I'm going to read some Chinese literature this year and see what I think. And the first one I'm going to read is Waiting by Ha Jin. This book was, I think, a Man Booker Prize nominee? No, it was a Pulitzer Prize finalist. That's what it was. But this is about, like, some marriage or something, and how, like, a husband keeps going to this one village to divorce his wife, but he always falls in love with her over again. And It sounds really interesting, though it has bad ratings on Goodreads. Like, a lot of great books have bad ratings on Goodreads. Eileen, the dinner! Okay. But this one sounds good. I can't wait to see what it is, so yeah. Alright, the next one is a book that I didn't know existed, and at first I thought, oh, it's gonna be out of print. Oh no, it's at my library. So I freaked out when I saw this. And it's McLou by, I love that title by the way, by Otessa Moshfegh, the same genius behind Eileen. And this is her first novel. It's extremely short. I don't even think it's a novel. I think it's more of a long novella. But I've heard good things about this from the little things I heard of it. It only has like 300 ratings on Goodreads. Not many people know this, but I don't want to shove it in your face like, hey, it's unknown. But I'll tell you guys if this is good. So follow my Goodreads if you want to know how I think of the books I read. So yeah. All right, the next book is from an author who I'm really wanting to get into. I've been wanting to get into more short stories with like Haruki Murakami short stories. I recently tried Jhumpa Lahiri and I liked her works, but the next author of short stories that I really want to try out is Alice Munro, who won the Nobel Literature Prize back in 2013, I think. And this is her most famous collection, Dear Life. And there's also another collection I'm really interested in called Runaway, which sounds awesome as well. But this one just sounds interesting. I don't know how many stories are in here, but ooh, they're pretty lengthy stories. That's nice. I like longer short stories because that means there's more to it. But I personally am starting to really get into short stories, and I think Alice Munro will be for me. So yeah. Alright, the next book I have is Ruby by Cynthia Bond. And this is a gorgeous cover, but I don't know anything other than that. I think it's some girl moves to New York or something. Oh, okay, now I know. No? What? I have no idea what this is about. I just read the flap. I kind of grazed the flap of the cover like this. And I saw two names, and I don't know if Ruby is the main character or Ephraim Jennings. I have no idea. But, or maybe it's just a nickname. Ephraim Jennings is nicknamed Ruby, but I don't know. I've never read this book. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna find out for myself, so yay. Alright, the next book is Your Heart is a Muscle the Size of a Fist by, what's this guy's name? Sunil Yapa. Okay, so I love this cover, by the way. I love, like, the spray paint, like, the paint aspect of this cover. And it's not long. It's only, like, 300 pages, so I'll get through this pretty quickly. And I think this is about some, like, teenager. Oh, I just saw it. A young Victor, a nomadic, scrappy teenager who runs away from home, sets out to sell as much marijuana as possible to the throng of WTO demonstrators determined to shut down the city. Okay, that sounds awesome. I just picked it up because I saw, like, sells as much marijuana. And I'm like, this sounds interesting, but I didn't read past that. Okay, now I'm excited. This may actually be one of my newer reads, so one of the sooner reads, so yeah, this sounds awesome. And finally for the video, we have Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. This is about marriage and college, and it sounds something up my alley, so there's really not much to say about this. I think this was extremely popular in 2015? I think so? Ooh, this is the first edition. Ooh, first edition for a spring. Ooh. But I do really enjoy these literary fiction books from, like, these modern literary fictions. I'm trying to keep up with more releases in 2017. Like, Tasha Moshfegh is coming out with a short story collection. I already have that on hold at the library. I'm second in line, and I'm reading it, but I don't know about this author, though. I've never read her. So, yeah. So, that was the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below on what you guys thought of the video. And I realized I keep saying, and yeah, after I talk about every book. So, anyway, with that comment out of the way, I'm Mega Man Chief Fan, and I'll see you later, guys.